What's the saying? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You can see that the glass is out of the car. If you remember from the last episode, I had made a comment about how this rubber was up a little ways and it was not allowing me to put my trim down. What I ended up finding out is that when the window was put in, this rubber kind of made its way down too far and it was lifting up, and the best way to do it is to take it out and do it over again. But one good thing about that is you can see this got a little dirty in the process and it's kind of hard to get back here with the window in. So I'm going to take advantage of that, clean this up. Also going to take advantage and clean up the window. Little trick is some steel wool and some of the hard parts, and then I'm going to use this with a buffing compound. Believe it or not, this works much better than you would think. I used it on my front windshield, and I actually have a little episode on that. But this will allow me to really clean this up and give a good place for my louvers to stick onto. And then we'll put it back in and carry forward. So that's what we're doing today. You can see this is actually some paint from me painting the inside of some of those panels. And so 4/0 steel wool, just taking it off. I'll do this. This is, of course, the inside. And then I'll do the same exact thing to the outside. Just a little bit extra overspray got on the outside. So this really is nice, cleans it up, and doesn't seem to harm the glass at all. See, we're cleaning it up nicely. So now we're on the outside, and you can kind of hear how that sound is. That was what I was feeling, and this is just some overspray. If you look, it's hard to see. Anyways, but you can hear it. It quiets up. So I'm just gonna do that over the whole window, and then we'll go back over it with some glass top cleaner, buff it up. So yeah, it sucks I have to take this window out, but being that the rubber was brand new, it actually came out without any challenges. So hopefully it'll go in as easily. Well, that really worked well. My hand actually sticks to this as I'm pulling across versus just sliding over it because of the little overspray. Now I'll just put some glass cleaner on it, clean off any steel wool particles, and wipe that down. And we'll do our final little polish, and that should really help give it a nice smooth surface for my adhesive to stick to for my louvers. Like I had talked about, I'm kind of working from the back up. That way, I have like somewhat of a system of how I'm going about doing things. If I can get these louvers on, and this window in, get my trim in, I can really start moving forward. Some factory Carlite glass, tinted. This little handy tool. A little bit of this. We're just gonna kind of work our way. See if you can see some of that. Yeah, there you go. That area right there. Let's see if we can get rid of some of that. I would say that is pretty clean. We'll just carry on doing that the whole thing. Now that I got my rubber on correctly, I'm going through with some ammonia-free glass cleaner, just cleaning up these panels since it's much easier to get to right now. Much better. All right, got my rope in. This will definitely help when it comes time to put that lip over. Tucked into the lip there. Well, I got that set in, but now I'm in a position where I need someone to help me. So I gotta wait till I get someone to push down while I'm inside pulling the strings. Hopefully we can get this thing to sit down a little bit better. Looks all dirty, of course, because I got all my handprints on it, but it's so much better than what it was. Well, I got the help I needed, put the window in, it lined up better, went ahead and took advantage of the fact that the window was clean and these louvers are on. That's it. Little bit of a learning curve with these louvers, lots of taking on and off to make sure my measurements are good. The brackets are interesting. They kind of slightly tuck underneath the rubber and then are stickered down to the window. Not stoked that these are all plastic nuts. I'll probably change those out with like some 832 stainless hardware or something like that. The brackets down here do cause it to lift a little bit no matter what you do. And of course there is a gap for the trunk not to touch, but I can open up my trunk and it doesn't touch. They look good. Got my trim to come down. I do have a little odd spot in my trim that doesn't want to stay down here. I have a couple other pieces of trim I might try to see if I can get it to come down. Looking at it, I think this was a little bit bowed from removal, so I might try and adjust that later. But I was able at least to get the trim on, the louvers on. Holy cow, it looks amazing. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna take a look at this weather strip channel, get it all together so I can put my door weather stripping in. And then with the door weather stripping in, I can do my like window adjustments, which is kind of what's next. Yeah, that's it for now. One thing I want to point out is now that I have seen a few, original cars, this area was always just kind of an odd spot. It kind of was just a gap that you could see. So what I did was I've actually put in that 3M strip caulking in there. I opened it up a little bit and I'm kind of just working it in so that when I do screw this in, it'll push this out slightly, but create a nice even, black line that's sealed off from the elements. I'm probably gonna go ahead and put some tape down so if it does try and go up and over it, it's not, getting on this trim piece. I should also note that a really good product to remove this stuff is naphtha. So just a heads up, but I'm gonna go ahead and put those screws back in and snug this up and see if I can make it look clean. But a nice black line is sweet right here that's sealed off. All right, that's about as pretty as I can make it. It's a small detail that I'm more worried about, keeping weather out. And like I said, in other vehicles that I've seen, the foam tape normally collapses in just this big gaping hole that you can see behind it. I've actually been able to see through a car before, so this will keep it there. It remains pliable and seals it up. A little piece in there. Now I'm gonna tape this area off, squeeze it together, and then kind of punch it into place. All right, so we have door handles in. Look at that. Oof, they even work. Today's goal was somewhat met with a few minor setbacks, but we have this, what do you call it, belt line. We also have the weather stripping in. I got this front door seal in. And most importantly, it took quite a bit, but we have the windows adjusted. I just unhooked the battery, so we won't be able to show you this time. But basically, when we have these all the way up and we close the door, they fit nice and tightly and evenly with this. That's the good news. Bad news is, when I was trying to get this window to come up and down, a while back, actually, I noticed it was kind of struggling, and it was one of the regulators that I had taken apart. They're the pancake motors. If you are not familiar with what those are, they're these. But I had these apart and got them to work, and they weren't working at all, but this one's kind of struggling. You can just hear it. I do have a spare good one though, so I've got to get that in. The problem with that is how involved it is to get down in here with the glass and everything. So that kind of was a little backward step. Probably been doing this for about 4 hours. That's how long that took. And now I have my interior blown apart again. The whole goal though is to get the windows all adjusted now that we have the weather stripping in, so then we can put our interior quarter panels in, our door panels in, because of course you need to access all of this stuff in order to get these things adjusted. If you've never been inside one of these before, we have a couple of things to adjust, but these help the door window from moving in and out. These are for the stops that stop it, so it actually changes how it tilts. And then where the regulator bolts up to the window has side-to-side adjustment. So there's lots of adjustment there. And as far as how far down it goes, there's an adjustment there. So lots of steps. I actually looked at the manual before, and it's this really long, detailed description of how you're supposed to adjust all these things. But it does take a while. Once it's adjusted, though, it's set. Everything's really nice and tight, which is cool. One thing I was going to take note that I had to find out the hard way. A couple good things. One of which do you see? Let's see if I can get it. Ah, there we go. Kind of bad in the back there. It is a stud that actually has an Allen key head on it, so you can adjust it in and out. And what that does is allows the tilt of this quarter window. So the whole frame mounts on that. And so that helps you with your adjustment on how far it comes out. Not knowing that's what those were doing, I actually had one that was missing, and I just put a screw in it, but that didn't work out so well because I had no adjustment. So I was able to get another one of those from my parts car, put it in, and now I can adjust it. Once the new regulator is in, of course. So it looked all nice and pretty in here, and then now it's all just blown apart. Lastly, the positive side to this is I had forgotten to put this seal on. I left the chrome piece on. This was removed. And then you grease the inside there, and you just slowly pull it back here. The challenging part is this area, and you can see I still have to tuck it in a little bit better because it makes this sharp bend right here. You can try and bend these out, but this is stainless, so it's kind of tough. So I'll clean these up, put them back on, get the regulator in, and hopefully I can get my quarter windows adjusted. Once they are adjusted and going up and down good, then and only then we can put our interior panels on. So all that work for just a few steps forward, and technically I had to take a couple steps back. But I think if we continue doing this, putting in a few hours a day for the next couple weeks, couple hours a day, 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day, full days, then we just might be able to get this to a point where it'll be buttoned up. I'm going to be grabbing green parts here soon so we can continue on with that. The bumper looks really, really good. I did post a video of that on my YouTube if you want to check it out. And that's all, folks, for this episode. See you next time.